So I recently came down with the flu and I tried to keep my spirits up the first few days, getting excited about having a bit of time off work and starting to watch some new Netflix shows. But after a whole week, Netflix got really old and I was just so keen to make plans with people after having been in isolation. But then the flu caused a secondary ear infection and I ended up with a perforated eardrum, which I would not recommend. And so what I discovered is 2 weeks is about enough time to shrink your comfort zone to the couch, to the fridge, to the couch again. It can be really hard to get back into your routine and your healthy habits when that has become the norm. And so I've collated my favorite tips that have worked well for me, especially after I've been unwell and I'm trying to regain my motivation and get back into my routines. The first tip is don't sit down. And this is a really practical and easy step to follow because it's a physical thing. It's amazing how much you get done when you don't sit down, because sitting down, for me, and I'm sure for a lot of people, leads to scrolling on your phone. And that can be endless. That can be hours gone. Or if it's after work and I sit down on the couch, I'll just put something on Netflix while I'm having dinner, and that turns into Netflix until I go to bed, which is like 4 or 5 hours worth of time that I could have spent doing things. I'm just in some zombie state watching TV. The next tip is to plan the night before. I find that if I haven't planned the tasks or activities that I'm wanting to do after work, mindlessly scrolling usually fills the gap. It doesn't take any decision-making process to get out my phone and start scrolling, but if I've picked out a few things that I'm wanting to do the night before, I'm less likely to do that because there's no gap that my autopilot's trying to fill. The decision's already been made for me. And I always have more productive and just better days overall when it's a little bit planned out. And it doesn't have to be some crazy plan or time blocking or anything like that. I usually just pick 2 to 5 things that I want to do, and it can be a mixture of fun things and productive things, and it always just seems to improve my day overall if I've done a plan the night before. And that is also tip number 3, finding a balance between fun and productive. If you plan the night before and put all hard and boring tasks on your list, you're less likely to want to do those things on your list. It can help to find a balance between not so fun tasks and tasks that you're looking forward to. So for example, maybe after work, I'm going to vacuum the house and send that email off to the bank, and then I'm going to have a bubble bath and start working on a drawing while I have Netflix on in the background. So finding that balance means that you're less likely to procrastinate and avoid the list altogether. That example also leads to the 4th tip, which is Netflix multitasking. So I find a lot of the time my comfort zone shrinks to just wanting to watch Netflix, and that's all I do. I just sit on the couch and watch movie after movie. But having Netflix on in the background while I do other things is my favorite new hack. It's not that watching Netflix is inherently bad, but I find that I watch Netflix on autopilot a lot. So I'll sit down after work, put Netflix on while I'm eating dinner, and then the whole night disappears after I start a new show or I watch 2 movies in a row. So finding things to do on my to-do list that I can do whilst I'm watching Netflix is a great way to be productive whilst not feeling like I'm missing out on watching my favorite show. For example, I've done things like drawing or sorting photos on my computer or entering receipts into my tax file. So finding tasks where you can multitask like that can be really helpful to motivate you to get things done. The last tip is from Michelle B on YouTube, and it's another really practical, easy to follow tip. It's similar to don't sit down, but it's go slow and don't stop. You can go as slow as you like if you don't have much energy, especially if you're recovering from an illness. Sometimes we feel like we don't have the energy to cook dinner or clean the house like we normally would, but sometimes if we just go really slowly and chip away at it, we get more done than if we didn't do anything at all. If you liked this video, you might like my video on the happiness paradox. I'll leave that linked on the screen and in the description. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.